Hi, in this video we're going to solve an equation where we have to think about the distributive property on the left hand side. So we're going to find the value of x that makes 3 times x plus 2 equal to 9. Okay, I'm going to show you two different ways of doing this. And to solve this you really need to be thinking about what this 3 times x plus 2 means. So I'm going to get out my trusty little algebra tiles. So what it means is we have 3 groups, and in each group we have x plus 2, right? So there's one group like that, and then here's the second, and we'll do one more. So that's 3 times x plus 2, and that is equal to 9. Let's see if I can, there's a little pile of 9 algebra tiles. So I'll tuck this over a little bit here. It's really important when you're representing your equations with algebra tiles that you have a really clear equal sign, which I don't at all right now. There's two ways to do it. Maybe I'll put them both on the page. I mean, there's at least two ways to do it. One way, the simplest way, is just to do a squiggly line kind of down the middle. Sometimes I also like to draw a little balance scale underneath because that reminds me to keep the two sides equal as I'm working. All right. So here we go, method 1. Now first of all I'm going to copy the equation. So we've got 3 times, in brackets, x plus 2, and that is equal to 9. So the first method is just to simplify the left-hand side. We'll multiply it out. So we want to use the distributive property so that we don't need to have the brackets anymore. So our 3 groups of x plus 2, we'll just say, well, how many x's do we have altogether, and how many unit tiles do we have? So that's easy, we have 3 x's. And 3 groups of 2 unit tiles is 6. If I'm working without the tiles, sometimes I like to just sort of imagine these little curvy lines here. 3 times x is 3x, and 3 times 2 is 6. Just because that helps me not forget any of the terms. All right, so that's equal to 9. So now I want to know what the value of x is that makes this true. So maybe the first thing I'll do is subtract 6 from both sides. So I'm going to copy down what I just had. And then I'll subtract 6. If you have a different color, using a different color, I really think minimizes your chance of making mistakes. So on the left we have 3x. And on the right, 9 subtract 6 is just 3. All right, so I'll copy down what we have again. And now I want to just get 1x, so I'm going to divide both sides by 3. I'll do that in my other color. And that gives us x equals 1. All right, so that's a perfectly good method. There's nothing wrong with that at all. It's pretty efficient. And the nice thing about this method is it turns the equation almost immediately into an equation that maybe you have a little bit more experience dealing with. All right, so method 2. For method 2, I'm going to come back to my algebra tiles. If you don't think about what's happening with this method, there's a very good chance you're going to make a mistake with it. But if you do think about what's going on, it's actually, I like it a little bit better. It's a little bit, I think, a bit more efficient, but you got to be careful. So, I'm looking at my 3 groups here. And in fact, I'm going to even separate my 3 groups a little bit. You may have an idea where this is going. Into 3 groups there. And I realized, well, I could separate my 9 into 3 groups as well. So I can divide both sides of my equation by 3 right off the bat. All right, but as I do this, I have to be careful. If you don't sort of at least imagine you can imagine the algebra tiles, or you can imagine some other way of representing it. Mistake people will try to make is they'll try to divide these numbers inside the brackets as well by 3, which would be wrong. All right, so let's see what this would look like with written algebra. First, I'll copy the equation. There we go. All right, so I would like to divide both sides by 3 here. So what I'm going to do is I'll write a big division sign like that, and a division sign like that as well. So 3 times x plus 2 is just equal to, as we can see, it's just equal to x plus 2. And 9 divided by 3, sorry, 3 times x plus 2 divided by 3. I don't know if I said divided by 3 is equal to x plus 2. And on the right-hand side, we have 3. So this really makes a lot of sense. Something, in this case, or something is x plus 2 times 3 divided by 3. It just gives you the original something that you had, the x plus 2. Right? But a lot of people, if there were, for example, a 6 in here, they might change it to a 2, like they'd be tempted to divide other numbers they see, which would be wrong. All right, now at this point, this has become quite a lot simpler of an equation. Let's subtract 2 from both sides. And again here, we get x equals 1. So choose the method you like best. I don't think that either one has a real big advantage or disadvantage over the other. This is my preferred method, but it's just a little bit riskier. So if you're going to do it that way, make sure that you really think carefully about what you're doing. All right, good luck.